Danielle gets so mesmerized by me. I don't think she realizes when she's recording or not. It's okay. It's normal. So what happens is when we have this motivation, that's what kind of gets you up the starting blocks, right? That's the burst of energy. But what happens is your drive and your why is actually what carries you through the dark days and I don't know if I should get up at 4 a.m. this morning. I think I'll sleep in type conversations that you have with yourself, right? And, 70% of the thoughts that go through our brain are negative, right? So you have 1,500 words a minute coming through your brain. 70% of those are negative. So whenever you think of doing something, you have a more likely chance of you talking yourself out of it because you think of all the bad things that could happen, right? So you have to ask yourself, how do you make your drive and your why, your reason for doing this, how do you make that stronger than your motivation? Anyone guess how to do that? I'll let you type it in if you want to type it in. If anybody wants to unmute themselves, we can do that too. What I've learned is that a lot of people, it's actually one simple thing, right? So let's say this. I'll give you an example. Everybody on this call, right? Whoever's here right now, I would say, would you guys all agree that you're in the top 10% of people that are doing something? What do you guys think? Top 10% of people that are actually trying to be better with their lives? Yeah, I would say, I would agree. I think everyone here is in the top 10% of doing what it takes to be successful, right? Now, here's the challenge though. There's an equation that I was taught by one of my mentors. It was B times do equals have. And you may have seen me talk about this before. And a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, Steve, how do I have what you have? How do I, do all these things and create business and own real estate? How do I do all these things? And what you're missing is the first part of that equation, which is the B. So you can do all of this, but if you're doing it as the wrong person, you're like, so let's say, for example, you make a lot of money, right? You say, I want to make, when I coach people, I'll say, why do you want to do this? And they'll say, I want to have $25,000 a month. I'm like, well, shit, you can work fucking 24 hours a day and make $25,000. Like that's not going to make you happy, right? But they think that will change how they think and how they are. They'll just be broke people with making a bigger paycheck. That's all they are. And so what you have to do is you have to change who you become. See, we don't focus on becoming someone different. We think that if we work hard, we will be successful. But if that was the case, wouldn't manual labor and construction people be the richest people on the planet? I think they work the hardest, right? But they're not the richest. So by definition, we know that theory that we try to tell ourselves doesn't work. We know that working hard is not going to get us the life we want. It could get us money, it can get you broke, it can get you tired, it can get you hurt, but it may not make you become that person. So that's why it's so important. And we talk about the motivation, all this stuff. If you're someone who does not, if you have that motivation and that's the only thing, like all of a sudden a date, right? January 1 kicks around and now all of a sudden you are a new person, but you haven't really done anything to become that new person. You just put something on a post, you did a couple of emojis, you're super happy, everyone's giving you a thumbs up, you're excited. And next thing you know, a week later, you're going, well, this sucks. This is not what I thought it would be. I think I'll go back to how I was because it really wasn't that bad. I was kind of okay. I wasn't too miserable, right? So my point of this is you have to think of the B times do equals have. We're all doing what it takes to be in the top 10%, right? We all agreed that we are doing that. The challenge is we all know deep down that top 10% is really not going to give us the life we want to have. You really have to get into the top 3% because look, we're all here at this place, right? And what got us here is not going to get us to where we want to go. So you have to ask yourself, what do I do? Do I work harder? Well, you're working hard now and it's not getting you to where you want to be. So you have to do something different. Doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity, right? So you have to ask yourself, what is it that you can do to the top to change that 7%. It's only 7%, right? I'm not talking huge swings. I'm not saying you got to do a whole bunch of new shit. I'm just saying you got to change certain things in your life to get from the top 10, because everyone here is in the top 10. We all agree. But we also know deep down, that's not getting us what we want. We want to do something different. And so it's that 7% that we've got to change. Anybody guess what you could do to be in that top 3%? And does anybody care to unmute themselves and tell me what they're having struggle with? And I'll give you we'll do a quick little conversation and let's see if I can help you break through before I just pick someone. Who should I pick, Daniela? Let's see here. I love how everyone stares. Everyone acts like they're not looking, but they're really looking. All right, I'm gonna go with Jason James. He's been smiling the whole time, and he had some good comments here. All right, Jason.
All right, Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
All right. You're in the top 10%, right? We all agree, right?
Okay.
So pat yourself on the back. Go have a cookie. I don't care. What do you think is stopping you from getting to the top 3?
For me right now, is as I look at what I accomplished in January and the results is deal flow, not getting enough deals coming my way. My goal is to make about 8 to 10 offers, only made 5, but I couldn't find enough deals to meet my criteria.
Okay.
So,
Where do you live?
I live in California.
Okay, whereabouts?
Northern California, right outside of Sacramento.
Okay. How big's the population there?
It's where I stay in Stockton is about 700,000, but I invest in Detroit. I invest out of state.
Okay. How big's the target area in Detroit that you invest in?
It is right now Metro Detroit, so it's 5 cities, so a few 100,000 easy.
A few 100,000. Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is your target market? Like, how old are they? What's their income? What's their problem? What's your solution? Who do you go after? Who's your target?
So I'm looking in C-class neighborhoods. So I think the median income ranges from higher 30s to I would say mid 50s, based on what I can see online. So it's
Okay.
like working class.
Okay. And what would you say is the target? What is their challenge that you are offering a solution for them for?
What is the challenge that I'm offering a solution?
So I'll give you an example. Like, the only way a transaction can happen is they have to have a problem and you have to have a solution.
Okay.
Because if you're giving me something on milking my kids, I don't milk kids, so that's not a problem I have. So I can't. You're not going to give me a solution. I'm not going to buy your product, right?
Yep.
So you have to ask yourself, what is the problem the person's having, and how are you providing that solution? So have you ever thought of that in the sense of going after those people, right? Instead of like just a shotgun approach, you're more of like a sniper. And so you're focusing in on what that person's problem is. I'll give you an example. Like when I had my management company, we would specifically go after out-of-state landlords that were evicting their tenants. So we knew they had a problem because they were evicting their tenant.
Okay.
We knew that they didn't live locally and they were self-managing because the management company didn't file the eviction. So we knew all these things. So we knew this person has a problem. Our solution is, hey, we have an eviction protection program and we'll place your tenant for free. They're going, holy shit, how'd you know that I had that problem? And we're like, oh, coincidence, right? So you got to ask yourself, what is the problem versus the solution?
Got it.
So, okay, hold on. I got to let my dog in the room. Hold on. Come on, Goose. Okay, sorry. All right. Hey, buddy. Don't eat the batteries. All right. So now, when it comes to this target, how many people would you say are in this target that you have?
Specifically, I don't know the exact number. I would say out of those 4 areas, I mean, I know there's at least about 300,000 people. So I would say at least half or more are in that range.
Okay. Would it make sense that you should know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. We'll say that there's more than 8 to 10 people in your target. Is that a safe statement?
Yep.
So why would you say you're not doing what you need to do?
I mean, now you got me thinking. I haven't drilled down as specific as I should, I guess, because I don't know my target audience, and I never approached it as what solution am I bringing. So essentially, my approach is looking on the MLS, getting with wholesalers, and just going after everything versus really tightening it up and focusing on a specific audience versus what I'm doing now. So I've never got that granular with it, Steve, but I get where you're going with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that, like you want to, well, here's the thing. If I was coaching you, if I was helping you and you told me that I did 8 to 10 deals, I would say you would be fired if you worked for me, because you should be looking at a couple hundred deals. Because I guess my question is, are you looking for that perfect deal? Or are you just at the golf, you want to be at the driving range, just hitting balls. So let's say, for example, you're looking at 25 deals a day, every single day, 25 deals, and you see all these prices. Let's say they're $70,000 homes, right? And so you're like 70, 30. Whoa, why is this one 30? Like, and if you're not on it every single day, someone that is going to know it, they're going to see it, and they're going to get the deal.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
So I would say you need the repetition of the muscle memory of doing this over and over and over again to where you know exactly what a deal is. You're like I know some guys that do what you do. They can tell me a neighborhood of what the price points are for every single neighborhood they operate in. They're that granular. So they know that if they see something that's off, they're like, that's a deal. Like, I know that's a deal. I don't even need to see it. I know it's a deal.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you want to get, right? So why do you think you're only looking at 8 or 9 offers?
Well, so I made 5 offers. My goal was 8. As far as properties I'm analyzing, I think attractive was like 48. My goal was 7 a week, but I went over that. It was only 28, but I analyzed almost 50. But in regards to offers, it was starting off with 2, make at least 2 offers a week. Some of the things that kind of helped that up, some of the listing agents were a little bit unresponsive to the offers that were made. So I kind of slowed it down. And then I was only working with one agent at the time. So I guess I could kind of look for other options, and he's only focused in one area. So I thought about that as well, Steve, is maybe broadening my area to increase the chances of having more deals come in or come my way if I widen the area, maybe another city or 2 versus just this little pocket that I've been looking at.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I think that's, again, it's just, you got to look at all the different options that you have, but it's action, right? It's just a matter of taking action. That's the key. Is you got, a lot of times we tell ourselves a story that we want to believe because that's our justification for not doing it. It's like, well, I've got this problem, I got that problem, and yeah, that's another reason. So that if somebody asks you a question like me, and you're like, well, because of this, and this. And so there's a term, and I've talked about it before. It's called above the line, below the line, right? So above the line is ownership, accountability, and responsibility. Below the line is blame, excuse, and denial. So the question is, are you above the line or below the line? Like, are you going, you know what? That's on me. I own it. Like, for example, let's say you and I had a meeting and you were late to the meeting. And the first thing you say is, oh, sorry, man, there was traffic. I don't give a shit if there's traffic. Yeah. Own it. You know what? I should have left earlier. That's on me. I'm sorry. That's what you say, right? Yep. So you don't want to blame. You don't want to be like, oh, there's only one agent. There's just, doesn't matter, right? Nobody's going to make you successful. Like I said, if you want to get in that top 3%, you have to do what you can do the best to your ability every single day. Because if you have people holding, you accountable, wife, family, kids, dog, whatever, you have to think to yourself, okay, what am I really being professional, right? Am I really doing what I need to do at the fullest of my potential every single day to become the success that I want to be? And if the answer is no, well, that's okay. But then you've got to be okay with the results that you get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, total sense.
Cool. All right. Well, good job, man. I'm glad. I would just say kick up the volume more, really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Does anybody else want to go?
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it, man.
You got it. You got it, man. So one of the things I want to talk about is saying no. So for anyone that I've coached, and I see Kirsten's on here, so I'm going to pick on, is she still here? I saw her drinking her little drink earlier. There she is. Hey, Kirsten, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're not painting or something. What's going on? I thought you'd be painting a room or something. We always watch you paint and do things.
Outsourcing it.
Oh, smart. Very smart. So, Kirsten, I just want to kind of use you as an example for a little bit. Saying no to things can be the best thing that you could ever do, right? And a lot of times people think that they have to just be busy to be busy, right? They think they have to be the hardest worker in the room and they have to say yes to everything or to every deal or to every opportunity. And what I teach people, especially if I mentor them or if I coach them, the first thing I have them do is I have them do a time study. If I think that they're not effective with their time. Now, there's some people I coach, I know that they are spot on with their time and it's not an issue. Other people that I think could use help is I make them do a time study. And I'll have Kirsten give her opinion of it in a second. But the time study is basically from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to bed, you are going to track what you do, right? 30 minutes email, feed the kid 20 minutes, went to the gym 2 hours, right? I don't care what it is, right? What you're doing is not as important as it is to tracking it. Now, there's multiple reasons for that. Number one is it makes you really cognizant of what you're doing with your time because you're like, shit, I got to account for this time, which means I got to write it down, which means I got to maybe explain what I'm doing, right? So that's the first thing. It's kind of like if you want to lose weight, you start writing down your food and all of a sudden you start eating better food because you're like, fuck, I don't want to eat the Snickers bar because I got to write it down. So I'm just going to not eat it and then I don't have to write it down. So that's the first part of the time study. The second part of the time study is every single day, you are going to totalize your day. Meaning like I spent 3 hours doing email. I was on the phone for 4 hours. I was driving for 2 hours, whatever it is, right? You just totalize it. The last piece of the puzzle, which is very, very important, is your executive summary. Now, the executive summary is you telling me how you think you spent your day. So, and this has a lot to do with being effective with your day, with getting stuff done, which takes away the motivation and goes to the drive, right? So when you have to tell me how you think your day went, if I say it like, hey, you're doing too much shit on social media, stop, like that's a waste of your time, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm marketing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? Because if you say it, it's true. So once you realize where your time's going and you're telling me, all of a sudden you start realizing some things that you could be more effective in and some things that maybe you could not do as much. So Kirsten, give me your thoughts. I know you did it for a long time. You even had like color markers and stuff going for a while with what you were doing. Give everybody your thoughts on how it helped you.
You know, it's funny. I'm not muted. I actually have it right here because I just started up again because you guys can't see. But yeah, I started with like all these highlighter. I would highlight certain times, like what was I doing? Like social media would be like pink stuff, something would be orange. And by the end of the day, you could see how much of your time was being spent on orange, which was social media, and how much was being spent in blue. That's why I did the highlighters. I thought it was easy to do it that way. But yeah, it definitely changes things when you have to, especially when you have to send it to Steve because you know he's analyzing it. But you definitely figure out where you're spending your time. And I told Steve, like when I first started, I thought I was spending my time in one place. I was not spending nearly as much time where I thought I was. It just makes you look at, where you're spending your time and where it can be better spent.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, they say you respect what you inspect, right? And so what ends up happening is you start really looking at your time. And normally, like I tell people, if you do it every single day for 2 weeks, and for people that I coach, I make them send it to me. If I think they need it, they have to send it to me every day. Like, Ashley, when she first wanted my help, I told her the one day you stop sending it, don't ever call me again because we're done talking. I said, if you want my help, I'll help you. But the first day you don't send it to me, we're done talking. So, and she did. She sent it every day for 2 weeks. But what you realize is all of a sudden you start being more effective with your time because you start realizing, number one, what could I systemize? What can I automate? Maybe what can I outsource? Just like Kirsten said. And you start just thinking like, man, am I really the best person to be doing this? Or does it really take as long as I thought? I remember one time we were coaching Kirsten and she was telling me how she had all this shit she had to do. She had to do her taxes. She had to make these phone calls. She had to do a drive. And I was like, do it this way, this way, this way. And I think we got most of it done even the night before, didn't we?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get all this done tomorrow. And Steve was like, well, try this, this, and this. Try fitting this into this spot. And I think I texted him at like 9 p.m. at night. And I'm like, I'm done. I have free time tomorrow now.
Yeah. And so it's like throwing all the Legos on the table and trying to figure out which way to assemble them, you know? And so, you know, what I want to talk to people about is I'd like to hear, is there anyone here that has a challenge with saying no to certain things? So I'm sure, look, I think we all do. Let's be honest, right? I think everyone here on the call probably has that fear of missing out and they don't want to say no to a deal, no to a person, no to a meeting or something. But who really struggles with that and realizes that maybe that is causing them not to get what they really want, right? So you're pleasing everyone but yourself, kind of. Who wants to, before I pick someone, who wants to, I'm not going to pick you, Daniela, don't worry. Who here would say that they have a challenge with that? Anyone? I love watching all the faces on here. Everybody acting like they're busy. All right, Ron.
Yeah, I definitely have a challenge with that. I'm always the guy that people come to for advice or to hang out with even, or just to chat. So if there's like something better, not a better opportunity for work or anything like that, or do business, or just to hang out, I, usually choose that option and make time for that.
So why do you think you do that?
I don't know, I like being around people and hanging out and helping people for the most part. Like, I was on a Zoom call the other day watching this girl that I helped, in her start of her career. And she's doing so well right now.
Yeah.
And I felt proud, that I was able to help her and she's doing so well. But then I look at myself, and as you know, I don't know if you remember, I had a kidney transplant.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So, and I'm like, man, like I should have been, I should be doing really well by now. And, I have to take a step back. But even now, I still find myself, taking a phone call from somebody or talking to someone who's, also sick instead of working on the business.
Well, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you and I have talked a couple times on Instagram and other places. So I get probably most people on here reached out to me and I've talked to you at some point. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but are you doing it instead of doing other things that you should be doing? That's are you subconsciously doing this because you don't want to do that, whatever that is, would you say?
Not really. But I just haven't really been concentrating on the business so much. I know, like I lost my drive.
So
I'm getting there.
All right. So what do you do? What business you do?
Real estate investing, flipping houses for the most part.
You said flip houses?
Yeah.
Okay. What target do you operate in? What market?
I'm in New Jersey.
Is that where you're operating in, New Jersey?
Yeah, I have a buy and hold in Florida, but pretty much operating in New Jersey.
Okay. What would you say is your target? Would you guess? Price?
Well, right now I'm looking to do at a level projects, so buying a ranch or a cape, blowing the roof off and adding that whole second story, turn it into colonial and try to make a 6-figure profit off of that. That's my new target. Before, it used to just be like simple rehabs.
Okay.
But now I want to go a little bit bigger.
How many of those target markets, how many exist in your market, would you say, those types of properties?
It's very competitive here, but they're out there. You just have to kind of be patient. Like
Okay.
there's a lot of people doing what I do, just like all over, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
But the inventory is so low.
Okay. So what are you not doing?
Actually, I usually typically work with wholesalers to get
Okay.
my properties.
Okay.
But now I decided to go direct to market,
Okay.
or direct to seller rather. So I'll be doing the same marketing that wholesalers do to get my own properties.
Okay.
Um,
So in your marketing, how are you marketing right now to get?
I
to get
haven't
them?
yet. I was going to do driving for dollars actually today
Okay.
in 2 markets. I already targeted specific streets and areas, and I was going to just do drive for dollars and get some addresses and direct mail them.
So let me ask you this. Is this what you really want to do?
I'm not
Or is
passionate.
this
I'll
what
be
you'd like
honest.
to do?
It's what I like to do. I'm not super passionate about it, but I like it. Like I left my full-time job, a great job actually, to go ahead and do this. I like doing the flipping. I like the results.
Well, I like
They've been
eating donuts
profitable.
too, but it doesn't mean I do them every day or eat them.
That's
so
true.
what do people do what they have to do, not what they want to do. So the challenge I see with you is that it's one of those, I'd like to, but I don't know that that's like your desire. So if it's not, that's fine. I would say either figure out how to get the desire, right? To make it a burning desire, or figure out something else to do. Because I think what's going to happen is it, look, you just said yourself that this is a very competitive market. You're not by accident, by chance, going to fall in backwards on the weekend on a deal that's going to make you a couple $100,000 because you happen to drive around one day. Right. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, I would say don't even waste your time driving around, because what are the odds? I mean, you've got to fight, kick, and scream to get a deal as it is.
Right.
So how do you change that should to a must?
Yeah, I still think real estate's the way to go. The flipping, I do like it a lot. Like I said, I'm not super passionate. Like it's not my hopes and dreams to
Right.
do it, but it's something I like doing. Like again, I left a great job to go do this. It was just my motivation the last couple of years, and right now, even now, I struggle with shingles. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm in a lot of pain, but I said, forget it. I'm just going to go out. I don't care about the pain. I got to start doing what I need to do. And I think it's just a matter, like you said, getting out there, getting the first thing again. I know how to do it and get that motivation back.
Yeah. You just got to get the drive. I think if you get a deal, I know there's someone else on this call, which I won't call him out, but we had a meeting today. We were talking about how he's such a hard driver and he's so perfect and he wants a home run, and he knows, he's smiling right now because he knows. This is someone he's so smart and he knows so much about real estate. It's very hard to feel that I don't want to say, Bobby, how would you say? Like, we don't want to feel like we're taken advantage of. We want to say like we know what we're doing and we want to get that right deal. How do we say that?
We just kind of said that, sometimes the knowledge is the knowledge, even though it is powerful, is too much, for moving forward. We weren't talking about not necessarily having like just overthinking things too much and just kind of being like, I don't want to get taken advantage of because this is my business. I'm a real estate agent and I know I have a bunch of info and I've been in construction. So constantly, I don't remember exactly how we put it, Steve, but essentially in a nutshell, it was just self-sabotaging is what we were talking about. Yeah. Subconsciously self-sabotaging yourself because you have this information. So it all came down to, how am I writing my offers? Am I kind of subconsciously self-sabotaging myself because I know what a good deal looks like and whatnot. So I'm putting these offers out there that aren't getting accepted is essentially what it came down to.
And so when Bobby and I were talking today, I said, if you bought these properties 10 years ago, now Bobby's looking over in Tampa. Florida, which we know is a hot market. So I'm like, look, if you bought these properties 10 years ago, do you think it would have even mattered if you paid full price for these properties? It'd be irrelevant right now. And it's like we're you're fighting over pennies over something that is irrelevant because this is a long play of 10, 20 years from now. So how many deals, like, the transactions are happening, right? A lot of us want that perfect deal, right? And this is what Bobby and I were talking about, is a lot of us want that perfect deal kind of for us, because we kind of go like, I don't want to get ripped off. I want the right deal. I want to show people that I know what I'm doing. And a lot of times that's ego and pride, right? And ego and pride sometimes gets in the way of making money. Sometimes it actually costs you money. And so what happens a lot of times is we know so much, right? We're like, Bobby's so smart. He knows so much about real estate. It almost works against you because you're kind of countering everything that you do. And you've never even left the house. Like, you're just like, well, that could happen and that could happen. Meanwhile, some other guy's going, fuck it, I'll just pay full price and see where it goes. And now they got maybe 5, 10 properties because they're going, you know what, 20 years from now, this is all going to be irrelevant, right? Because we all know, I mean, Florida, probably any city USA, if you were to look back at properties that when you were a kid, what they cost then and what they're worth now, appreciation has probably eclipsed anything 3 times over. And so, remember, like, appreciation outplays everything. It outplays cash flow, depreciation, equity capture, all that. So for those of you that are doing long-term buy and hold, everyone's out there fighting and battling. Now, I get if you're flipping and other things, that's a different strategy. But, if you're doing the long-term buy and hold, it's like you got to skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it's at. And so a lot of times we get so focused on these numbers that we rip them apart and nothing seems like a good deal, right? They all seem like they're bad deals. And so, a lot of times, again, like we were saying, it's like sometimes we self-sabotage that because we kind of know so much. And, sometimes it just takes someone from a different perspective, whether it's an expert coach or it's someone, a friend, whatever it is, telling you like, hey, take your blinders off, step back about 3 steps and look at this from another angle. Not saying it's different, just look at it differently. And all you have to do is just ask that what if, like, what if I did buy this property? Like, and that's what he and I were talking about today is like, what if we bought this property? A year from now, you'd probably be able to sell it and make money, even if you paid full pop for this thing. What if, right? Yeah, maybe you didn't get the 30, 40,000 equity you wanted when you purchased it, but if you can't purchase it at all, it doesn't matter because it's all irrelevant if you can't even get the deal. And so, sometimes we will self-sabotage deals. And I told Bobby, I said, I'm not saying you're doing that, but I said, maybe, you're kind of making these deals so unrealistic offers that you kind of know deep down they're not going to get accepted. But at least you can check the box to say, well, I'm doing it. Like I'm going through the mechanics. It's not me. I'm doing the mechanics. But you kind of you're saying you want a base hit, but you really want a home run to kind of prove to yourself. And it's tough, right, Bobby? I mean, you and I, we talked a lot about it.
Yeah, it was interesting because it brought me around about thinking about a kid I used to coach. Like I told Steve, this kid made it to 2 state finals in wrestling, never won one. And both times he lost in the state finals because he just didn't take a shot. And the kid was, he broke the school record for most takedowns. So and then he comes off the mat. He's like, well, I don't know what I did. What did I not, what couldn't I do? And I said, well, you can't win if you don't take a shot. And that's kind of what we were talking about. And that's what Steve was essentially trying to kind of draw out of me was, man, you're doing all this mental gymnastics in my offers, which I have been doing. I've been putting little contingencies and whatnot in there. And at the end of the day, it's been killing my deal flow. And it just took, we didn't even talk that long today, Steve. It was like 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And it just took a quick 30-minute conversation for me to realize that, yeah, I've been throwing out offers out there, but that's just kind of defensive. I haven't really been truly taking a shot and just saying, okay, I'm going to throw this offer out there. I'm not going to worry about any contingencies minus an inspection and just give them full price and work backwards from there, Yeah. No,
that was good. I'm glad we were able to talk. So who here would like to talk a little bit? We still have a lot of time, so I'm curious. Look, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to help you. So I know the shit. I don't need to learn it again. So I'm here to help you. So if you want my help, ask me because this is the time. By the way, so that everybody knows, this is the last week of the free mastermind. Starting next week, I've got the early bird special. It ends next week. It's $47 a month, and then it goes up after that. So for those of you that don't know, I do have to start charging because I'm getting some very, very expensive people on that are charging me. And I love you guys, but I don't love you that much. So I've had to carry the cost for almost a year. So I've got to start, doing that. So if you guys do like this, obviously next week, I'm going to have Mike Nuss on, who is a property manager, an investor, and an appraiser in Portland. So we're going to get him. And then the week after that, I'm going to do a deep dive workshop of the self-management versus property management. Which one's right for you? So every month we'll be doing deep dives. I'll have 2 industry experts a month, and then a mindset one as well. So I'm trying to make it as cheap as I can for everyone, which is why it's only $47 a month. It will be at the same time, and it will be recorded. But we are taking all the recordings down off the website. So if you're not a member, you won't get them. So for those of you that want to keep learning from me, it's going to get better. I've got a lot of great stuff for 2021. And again, if you're not in that top 3% yet, you really got to ask yourself why. And if you want to get there, then I'm the guy to get you there, or get someone to get you there. But don't just sit and do nothing, because that would be dumb. So for me, $10 a month basically is or $10 a week. If I'm worth $10 a week, which is about 2 Starbucks coffees, maybe it's 1, depending on what I drink. If I'm worth having a cup of coffee with, then maybe it makes sense to align with me. But anyways, who here would like to talk to me? I see Jennifer has made a lot of comments. So if no one else, I'm going to let Jennifer talk to me. I know, look at the face. She's like, what? I saw you put the baby down. So where are you going? You can't leave. We can watch you.
She's going to go get the baby.
Oh, you're muted. Oh, you're going in the other room to talk. I see.
Sorry, a lot went on right there. I'm sorry. I had to leave because there's lullabies and stuff going on in the other room.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Well, Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you.
If you haven't signed up for the think tank, you want to sign up, because I've been following you. You did. Good. Okay. Everybody else, you need to sign up for the think tank. I'm telling you, you're making a mistake if you don't. Well, you all know you're making a mistake if you don't, but you will really make a mistake because it goes up after next week and it's going to be double the amount. So if I am coaching you, though, it is free. So Bobby and all the other people that I'm personally coaching, I got you covered on that. So don't worry about it. All right, Jennifer, let's hear it.
It's millionaire mindset, correct, Steve?
Yeah.
Millionaire mindset.
Yeah. Well, Daniela put a link in there to sign up in the chat. If you go into the chat, you can see it.
I signed up. But I saw that it was built under millionaire
Yes.
mindset, Spring, Texas.
Correct.
All right, good.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's right. Thank you for signing up. All right, Miss Jennifer, what you got, homegirl?
As far as
What do you do?
so I am a real estate agent, a new real estate agent in the Houston area.
Oh,
And-
really?
Yes, and
I'm
my
in Houston too.
I know, I have stalked you.
Oh,
Okay. Honest.
This is awkward.
My husband and I are getting into real estate investing. We're actually working on closing on our first deal within the next couple of weeks, joining up with my brothers to buy my grandfather's home.
Okay. All right. So why did you become an agent?
Honestly, I've always wanted to be an agent. I'm obsessed with touring homes, looking at homes. Always love talking to people. Obviously, it gives you the freedom of making your own schedule, so that seemed appealing to me. But it's something I wanted to do a long time ago. I started working for Verizon Wireless, moved up with the company, and so I'd never pursued it until recently. My husband had a grand idea that I quit working for Verizon and go pursue my real estate because I've always talked about it. And then 2020 happened and he got laid off from oil and gas. So it's been a roller coaster since, but a really blessed roller coaster, I would say.
Who are you hanging your license with being a realtor?
EXP.
Oh, they're horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, they're pretty good. Well, good. Congratulations. Congratulations. So are you doing this more to become an investor and have an in with the investing? Like as an agent, are you trying to be an investor agent, or are you trying to be an agent that shows like brand new houses, or you just want to have the title of being an agent? Like, why are you doing it?
Well, really funny story. Originally, I did start because I wanted, or my original goal with being an agent was because I really wanted to be an agent. I wanted to sell homes and whatnot. My husband found BiggerPockets a couple years ago, and so he started listening to that. And then my goal became to become an agent so that I could be an investor, solely be an investor. I thought that me going out there and getting clients and all, I didn't want to do. I wanted to find our own properties, and I wanted to be the agent for our properties to cut out that commission.
Cost. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's actually where I'm at now, that I want to find the properties and I want to be the agent on the properties that we purchase.
What price point properties are you trying to get here?
So we would love to stick under 100. However, my grandfather's home that we're purchasing is 150.
I would love to slam dunk a basketball too, but that's not going to happen either of your houses. So exactly. I don't see that happening. Okay. So $100,000, where are you going to buy these?
So we've been looking a lot around the Spring Conroe area. We live in the Woodlands.
Mm-hmm.
And so driving around Conroe, we've done driving for dollars. A lot of the homes that we found, if we made fair offers on them, which you do want to be fair, would come in closer to about 150 or so.
What's fair what's your definition of fair?
I just don't want to feel like I am taking advantage of anybody whenever we make these offers.
What's your definition of taking advantage of someone?
Offering them something if I know they could get more. Like recently, for an example, my my grandfather's home, not fixed up or anything. I mean, they lived in it for 20 years. They didn't do anything to help fix it. Sorry, Thor is also going on in the background. But
is that a movie?
Yeah, I have an 11-year-old all the way down to a 3-month-old. So a lot of noise going on in the living room.
That's okay.
But people were coming in and offering him 60, 70,000 when I know that he could easily get the 100,000 plus. So that's what I don't want to be one of those investors that are coming in offering less.
Okay. Oh, it makes sense. I'm getting it. I should sell you one of my properties because I'd love to get top dollar for them. Okay, so it's something to think about. I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. Investing is a business. It's not an emotion. So as soon as you start bringing your opinion and your emotions into a business is when things go bad. So we all agree owning real estate is a business, correct? Do you agree with that?
Correct.
And a business is run off of numbers and data, okay? The numbers and the data dictate the deal. Plain and simple, right? It's not emotions. It's not what I think. It's not what you think. It's what the market dictates and what the market pays. And from your perspective is what could you rent it for? What could you get for it on cash flow? What kind of appreciation? Like it's all numbers, right? So I understand what you're saying, but what you need to understand is when you see someone who's a motivated seller, someone who needs to sell, the reason they're a motivated seller is they have a reason that they need to sell that property. It could be death, divorce, downsizing, right? They got a DUI, the 4 Ds I call them. It could be any of those things, right? They could cause them that they have a time crunch. And because of that time crunch, they're now motivated and they're willing to accept less money as a motivation. See, you're assuming that everybody puts value on money. They may put value on time. They're like, you know what? I don't care about the money. That's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is time. So when someone wants to look, you can't force someone to sell a house, right? I could do great negotiating, but I can't get you to sign the paperwork, right? You know, people buy on logic. They buy an emotion, they back it up with logic. So I can get you emotionally charged as to why you should sell to me. But after that wears off. So I don't think I think you're thinking like some investors have this hocus pocus that they can come in and do this and that and steal the house. I don't think that's really reality. I think that the reality is people are selling because they need to sell, and you are solving a problem. Now, if you're lying to them and all that stuff, I get it. That's unethical, and there's a difference. But I think what you want to remember is there's a motivation factor that people need speed, and that speed is related to a price drop, right? And so you've got to look at it from your perspective. Why they're selling, the whole reason, whatever. I mean, look, to be blunt, it's not your problem. Your problem is because when you buy a property, and trust me, I bought many that I was lied to, or I shouldn't say lied to, that I did not take appropriate action of getting all the information. So I made bad purchases. Nobody comes back to me and they're like, oh, Steve, sorry, we didn't know that roof was bad. Let me give you 10 grand because that wasn't really right. You overpaid for that house. Like that's, you know what I mean? That the reality is they're going to go, that's on you, man. Good luck. So you want to be careful. I wouldn't clump that sentence, because that's what you're thinking in your brain, and you don't want that to transfer when you're purchasing. The numbers dictate the deal, not any other reason. They may be going, I can't believe this chick fucking paid for that house. Like, I can't believe she paid us that much money. Like, doesn't she know there's a sewer line running through the back that's broken? And all of a sudden you're like, hey, I gave you a good deal. I paid you more than you were asking. You didn't tell me that there's a train that runs back behind my house every night. They're gonna be like, you didn't ask. So my point is real estate is great because there's no rules, there's no law, there's laws, there's no rules or things, people to tell you not to do something. It's horrible because there's no rules and there's not someone to tell you not to do something. So
Right.
It's one of those things that once you purchase something and you do that, you know, I mean, obviously I'm in Houston, I'm very familiar with it and everything. And I, you know, I've been through the ringer many, many times. I mean, shit, I wrote a book on it. It was, I screwed up so badly. But oh, you did? Oh, cool. Thanks. But again, you really want to think about it, the numbers, you know, and I think what you guys are doing is great. And I'm coaching another young man. He's in the oil business, and it's, you know, obviously rough. But you really got to be careful with that mindset. I think what you can do, you know, with EXP and being an agent and having that mindset, BiggerPockets, I think is great. But remember, the numbers dictate the deal. There's no opinions in it at all. Leave your opinions at the door and check them all at the door and let the numbers dictate the deal. That's I could be totally off, but I'm just telling you my experience at least.
No, and I heard you say that once before. And so that I did not get my emotions caught up with the deal with my grandfather's home, I did have several other people look at the numbers just to make sure that I wasn't getting caught up. So no, I totally hear what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Well, maybe I'll see you at some next event if they ever do these opening events.
Yes.
Cool. All right. All right. We've got Daniela. Who wants to? Someone else wants to talk?
Dan Adelman. Where are you?
Come on down, Dan.
Oh.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right, awesome. Okay, so yeah, this is my second time on the call, but I've been following you for a while on Instagram. So I'm at the very beginning stages. I'm turning 34 next week, just had a baby this past year, and I'm really like looking to begin investing to create financial stability for my family in the future. Okay. And I've been a listener to BiggerPockets like pretty religiously for the past 3 or 4 years. So I feel like I know conceptually what I need to do. It's just the getting started has really been tricky. And I've been like a graduate student, so that's kind of why I have been struggling, but I just got like hired for a job this year. So I'm like really looking to like hit the ground running, and I'm looking to invest out of state. I'm from the Boston area, which is you know, pretty expensive up here. So yeah. I'm looking at kind of like. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. And I've coached a lot of people that, are new and they're really trying to understand. So whatever I've helped people, the first thing I ask is like, what's the goal? Like if you were to define, and you may not know this, and if you're married to spouse, kids, everybody, when this is all done and you're sunsetting and you have your, retirement, have you ever thought about what is it that real estate is going to give you? So what is it the life you're going to have that real estate is going to actually give you that ability to have? Have you thought of that?
Yeah, I've actually thought about that quite a bit. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for is the time freedom to really not to like, so I work in like healthcare. I'm starting to be a nurse practitioner. So I love working with people and I'm really passionate about public health. But there's always, and so just to be able to pursue projects and passions within that realm without having to worry about like supporting the family. So, I mean, I've set a goal. It sounds pretty ambitious considering where I'm starting, which is like right now at 0, but I'd love to have 250 units within the next like 5 years. And just kind of the freedom that would give me to kind of do good. And I know that kind of sounds corny, but
here's the thing. It's not the 250 units. It's what those units represent. If you could do it, if you could do it in one house, would you do it? Or would you want to go through all the pain and drama of having 250? Right. So you got to put a quantifier on it. You got to put a number, but more importantly, you've got to put at the end of the day, it comes into revenue, right? And you need to figure out what is that number going to be. So like, I'll give you an example. Like I use a 2-2-2 rule, right? Or maybe it's 20-20-20. 20-20-20 sounds better. Okay. So the 20-20-20 rule is in 20 years, I want to own 20 properties that is giving me $20,000 a month in passive income, right? So let's just say that's the goal, right? So now we have a finite end destination of where we want to go to, right? And now we know what the way we're going to get there. So you have to have the end goal, and then you back this up to say, okay, what is the strategy to give me that end goal? So if you say you want 250 units, I would say, what does that give you? If you want it, they could give you $1. So you have $250 a month. Congratulations, you have 250 units. You're going to go, no, that's not what I want. It's like, okay, well, what does that 250 give you? It's not the 250, right? It's what it's giving you.
Correct.
And so, go ahead.
So I've been 250 units just kind of that would each cash flow $100 per door, which is the Brandon Turner criteria. Right. I mean, so it's not the 250 units as much as like 250 at 100 or more. So I guess 25,000 per month would do to quantify us too.
So then the next, and that's fine. So you got a timeline, right? So you got a 5-year window. So now you have an end destination, right? So you have a goal that has a time. If it's not, and if it's not written down, it doesn't have a time, it's just a dream. So you got a goal, you got a time, now you're good. So the next question is the strategy. The strategy you're going to use, there's flipping, wholesaling, buy and hold, negative geared, positive geared. There's all these different strategies. These are the free ways that are going to get you. So you're saying, I'm going to use the buy and hold strategy. Okay, great. Now, where do these properties exist? What city?
I get this from Subway.
And now you got to identify the city that they exist in that you can purchase 250 of them. Because at some point you're going to run out of capital. So you got to say, okay, where can I buy 200? Where can my money go the most that is going to give me what I want?
Right.
So then you got to identify a city. So then when you identify a city, it's like, okay, what are the drivers for that economy in that city? Are there Fortune 100 companies there? Are there's this? Is there that? You got to find everything that's going on in that city. And then you figure out, okay, this city is the right city for my strategy to get to my goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you almost got to start at the end and work it backwards.
Yeah.
And I mean, I probably don't have enough time because I know we're close to being out of time. But if you ever want to have a one-on-one, you can talk to Daniela, or if anybody wants to have a one-on-one with me, I'm happy to do that. If you want to talk to Daniela and set something up, because I know
that would be great.
sometimes it's tough to have a conversation, but I do these where we can figure out and get you on that. I can get you on that path with more time and more understanding of where you're going. So if somebody does want that, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Steve.
Yeah, because I think what you want, I mean, I like where you're going and what you're doing. I think you may be in the analysis paralysis mode. Obviously, I like Houston, but there's other markets that you could go into that I could help you identify. I don't think you need to pick one city over another. It depends on what your goals and what your strategies are. I mean, I helped that guy Joe. He lived in North Carolina, and we bought a property in Atlanta together, and neither of us ever went to Atlanta. So it can be done. It happens, it's just a matter of building the right strategy, and I can help you with that. It's just, I gotta kind of lay all these Legos on the table and figure out what you have, where you're going, what our time frame is, and then we just build a plan together, and then we work the plan.
That sounds awesome. So I will reach out to Daniela.
Awesome.
But I appreciate your time, Steve. Thank you.
All right, Daniela, what do you got, homegirl?
Since a lot of people were talking about investing out of town, we are going to give away today the real estate guide for out of town investing. I put the link in our little chat, and the code is out of town, all lowercase. So feel free to go to the website, put it in your cart, and then when you're going to check out, just apply that code so you can get that for free. And as you all know, I mean, we'd love to see you next week. I did put the link, but I'll put it in again if you guys haven't signed up for the Think Tank Mastermind. Here is the link as well. And I think that's basically it. Next week, we have Mike Nuss on. So he will be the first person that we will have on for the first paid version, let's say. We'll still send out tomorrow, the link if you need to rewatch anything. But yes, the links that are on the website will be taken down as of next Monday. And so take advantage. If you're not going to sign up, take advantage and watch as much as you can this week. Go back, rewind, watch everything. And we look forward to seeing you. Hopefully you guys will be seeing you all here next week.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. If you guys, if anyone needs me or they want to talk to me offline, feel free. Everyone knows I'm there. Oh, also put your Instagram handles in, and we can all take a picture real quick. And we can tag everybody. All right, Danielle, you want to count off for the picture?
Turn on your cameras. Everybody ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great week. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.